Oh yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is the captain here, and joining me all the way from a secret location deep within inside New South Wales, she's of course the lead singer of indie pop sensation Pirra. Hey, got it right, I'm pretty sure again.
Good pronunciation there. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Jess, welcome to the program. Welcome.
Thank you.
You and your wonderful band are actually the first Australian band that we've had on our new platform, where we've made the transition, and we've had, all these other people that have come from around the world, but it's good to touch base back here in Australia and welcome you to us as much as we're going to be welcomed with you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Now, I'm a little bit different when it comes to interviewing and so forth. I like to have a nice little drink if we can. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, we don't do that on this program. Hence why we don't have "Please drink responsibly" up in the corner. Now, let's get down into the nuts and bolts of it, because I've been doing a bit of research about one, the story of Pirra, and two, the story of you as well. We share something in common. We both identify as Indigenous Australian. However, you have such an extensive story, and I thought, can we have a look at that before we get into talking band-related things?
Yeah, sure thing. So, I grew up on a farm down near Mount Gambier in South Australia, and I always knew that I had Aboriginal heritage. It was something that Mum had told us from a very young age, and, told us that it was something to be proud of. But, it wasn't until I got a bit older that I really started to learn the real story. And I also knew that my mum was adopted. So Mum didn't grow up with her birth mother. And it was, sort of only as I got into my teenage years that I learned, more and more about Mum's adoption and why it happened, and just the story started to unravel a whole lot more. But firstly, it starts off, I guess we'll start with my grandmother. My grandmother, Linda, was born on a cattle station near, it was in the Central Desert, and the nation there is called the Luritja Nation. And so she was there. Her mother was a servant on the cattle station, and her father was the cattle station owner, William Snowy Pierce. Unfortunately, when she was, we think, around 4 years old, we don't really know her exact age, that's when she was stolen away from her mother. Firstly taken to the Alice Springs telegraph station, to the bungalow there, and she was divided up. The kids were divided up into a few different groups, and the group she was in was sent up all the way from Alice Springs up to Croker Island, which is an island above Darwin. So she was, based there until she was probably a teenager. She also was a part of this remarkable exodus that happened during World War II after Darwin was bombed, where her and 94 other kids crossed Australia. Basically no room in the inn. They came all the way down to actually Otford, which is just near Wollongong, not too far from where I'm living. And so my grandmother lived, on a mission. She left the mission when she was a teenager and was then sent down to Adelaide, where she was fostered out in a white Christian family there. So did a couple of years at high school, and her and a few other First Nations Aboriginal women in Adelaide decided that they wanted to do nursing. But, at this time it's the 1950s, and, it's still a bit no-no to let Aboriginal women do that sort of thing. But it was her and some other ladies, very prominent lady also called Lowitja O'Donoghue was one of her friends, and part of the group of 6 ladies. And they kept going to the hospitals and saying, look, we want to do this, we want to train. And eventually the Royal Adelaide Hospital let them do their nursing training there. And so my grandmother became a nurse. Then she fell pregnant when she was about 2021. And unfortunately had a lot of people still in her life, sort of from the mission days and religion, that were just really pushing it on her, as a single Aboriginal woman, that she wouldn't be able to give, this baby coming into her life, the life that she should. And so was, convinced that it was not right for her to bring up this baby. So mum was actually adopted out to my nana and papa, who have now passed, and they lived down in this town called Nangwarry, which is down near Mount Gambier. So mum got sent down when she was about 6 weeks old to live with my nana and papa. And so, yeah, my mum grew up knowing that she was adopted, but she wasn't told initially that she was Aboriginal. She did sort of wonder why her skin was, that bit darker than the other kids. She has her curly hair, and yeah, she sort of always wondered. She had a little bit of a feeling that it was possible. And I think it was kind of when she was in her teenage years, and then a bit later on when she met my dad kind of asked her, what's your heritage? And she sort of, she's like, oh, it could be Aboriginal, and that sort of was when she finally went home and asked her adopted parent, what's the deal? Do you know anything about my mum? What's my heritage? And they didn't give her any info on her mum's, details or anything, even though there was access to that info. So they told mum that she was Aboriginal, and that was kind of where it was left. Mum could tell it was a pretty uncomfortable thing for her adopted parents to talk about. And then that kind of led on to then my mum being uncomfortable sometimes talking about being adopted as well. And sometimes it's just like, do we talk about it? So it's been a big journey, but eventually mum, when she was 30 years old, she'd had all of us 4 kids. She decided that's it's time to meet her now. And it was through an organization called Jigsaw that my mum was able to find her birth mother, to find my grandmother. So they met for the first time when I was probably 5 years old. We drove all the way up from the farm up to Adelaide and met Grandma Linda for the first time. And yeah, it was very emotional. I didn't really understand completely what was going on, but I knew it was an emotional time. And I guess over the years, I've just tried to make every effort to build that relationship with my grandmother, and we're very close now. And I just have been finding more and more about the story. I mean, actually, it wasn't until 2011 that it was even confirmed for my grandmother who her parents were. That information was only found, and it was quite nice. There was a big family reunion in Alice Springs where they brought all of us together, and we got to meet all of this wider family in Alice Springs. Everyone the color of the rainbow. I've got cousins who speak multiple languages, and it's so interesting for someone like me who has grown up, in a predominantly white world on a farm in, somewhere like Mount Gambier, to then meet this family, from the Central Desert.
It's a good feeling when you finally trace it back. Like, we didn't know in our family much about our Aboriginal heritage until a lot later in life. I remember being in high school, and I grew up, central sort of New South Wales as well. Small community, a lot of Aboriginals in our community. And I remember starting high school, and one of the local Aboriginal boys came up to me and asked, "Hey, do you have Aboriginal in you?" And I said, I don't really know. And he goes, "Well, you've got the Aboriginal nose, so you can hang out with us." And that was sort of the start of the job. Well, maybe there's something in this. Because like you, I'm, if I go out at night and the moon's too bright, I'll sunburn because of how white I am. So it's really strange where, we're people like us, where we are a few generations removed, but we can trace that history back these days and go, well, this is actually where we come from. We've had stolen generation in our family as well, and so I understand completely. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about that story. In fact, there's been a documentary or movie made, Crocodile Island Exodus, I believe.
Yes.
Which is due out on, I think it's on the ABC on the 20th of November.
All right, so they must be doing like a repeat of the doco, which is great. Yeah, so one of the 3 ladies in that, Auntie Netta Cahill, remarkable. It wasn't until later in life that my grandmother learnt that they're actually cousins. So they grew up on the mission together, but it wasn't until 2011 when all the family got worked out, they realised they'd been actual cousins all along.
All along.
So, yeah.
It's a really interesting story. Thank you so much for sharing with us. I know that a lot of Indigenous people like ourselves, we don't necessarily talk openly about it as much as we should. So I really do appreciate you taking the time to share that with us. Do you think that that's helped influence the way that you approach music?
I mean, not necessarily music, but it's shaped who I am, which I guess shapes my music and shapes what I'm doing in life. But it's not something that I've necessarily put into the music, but it's not something that I've ruled out either. And I think because I am still on this journey of learning specifically about literature culture and literature language, I want to make sure I do it in a very respectful way. And I would absolutely love to have a song at some point where I can incorporate literature language. But yeah, I want to be very sensitive about the way I do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's yeah, but I look forward to that time, absolutely. And I think for me, the fact that we've got our name as Pirra, which is a literature word and it means moon, for me, that's a really special way and a nice nod to that part of my heritage. And that was a special moment when we were named Pirra by Uncle Sammy Butcher, who was a literature man and from the band Warumpi Band, which I'm sure people know. They wrote the amazing song Black Fella, White Fella, as well as My Island Home. People probably know also the cover that Christine Arnaud did, but that was actually a Warumpi Band song. And yeah, I met Uncle Sammy in 2012. We were both at a festival called the Festival of Pacific Arts in the Solomon Islands. Probably still one of the most amazing life experiences, because I will probably never see that many different cultures all coming together and sharing traditional dance and their cultures. And we were there for 2 weeks, and I told Uncle Sammy that, you know, just the year before I'd learnt that that's where my grandmother was from the Literature Nation. And as soon as he knew that, he just said, right, I'm going to teach you some language. And so over those 2 weeks, him and his sons were teaching the boys and I some literature words. So when we did that call out, you know, a year or so later, wanting to find a band name, I wrote it on Facebook asking for some help. It was actually Uncle Sammy who wrote on the post. He said, I think you should call yourselves Pirra because it means moon in literature language, which is your language.
Really, yeah, great little connection through there. Now, Pirra, you guys have been around for quite a while. Let's do the standard question. How did you guys form? All that sort of stuff. Yeah, I know it's a very cliche message, but you know, interviews, we've got to do this sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So everyone had kind of come from regional areas, which I find really interesting. So the twins came from the mid-north coast, from an area called Barraville. And so they came down to Sydney. The boys wanted to study music, so they went to the Australian Institute of Music. And that's where they met James McKendry, who is from Cundletown near Taree, also on the mid-north coast. So James, also wanting to follow his dreams, be a muso, met the boys at AIM. And then they had this other friend called Will, and the twins were playing in a flamenco band with Will. And Will started dating. I was living in a share house with some actors. And I was in Sydney trying to be a big time actor. And this band member of theirs started dating my housemate, Louisa. And so I went to go and see a couple of flamenco gigs and thought that the twins looked a bit cute.
You can have one of each. Don't really matter, does it?
Didn't do anything about it. But they learnt that I was a singer. And so Jeffrey, actually the drummer, he got my number and he's like, yeah, we want to maybe do some stuff with a singer. And yeah, so eventually I think I rocked up to another gig that they were at, and then I kind of just got into a really good chat with Curtis, and then we decided to start dating. And then a few weeks later we started a band, but it was not Pirra. It was actually a jazz quartet. Hey. So yeah, it was a
bit of Miles Davis.
Everything. Ella Fitzgerald. It's probably, I love Ella Fitzgerald. Anything that she does is the version that I learn.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's the only one I know. Coltrane. Is that right? Is that a name?
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Been lucky enough to see some greats actually at the Opera House where I work. But so we were quite into jazz, and we're playing probably like 4 nights a week. Sydney, when we first met, 2009, when we were doing the jazz thing, you could play 4 or 5 nights a week. They'd just passed these laws where cafes and bars could buy music licenses to have live music. I think it was like $500. So everyone was doing it. It was a really great time. So we did that for quite a while, and paid our bills doing corporate gigs and weddings and everything. But I had this bit of a yearning to do original music, because I'd been encouraged, a couple of years earlier by this other musician that I'd met in Sydney called Tommy Spender from this band called The Offcuts. And he's now in a band with Mama Kin, and they're called Mama Kin Spender. Mm-hmm. So I'd met him, and he'd really encouraged me to do the songwriting thing. So I showed the boys a few songs that I had, and I'm like, look, would you guys ever consider doing original music? Here's some stuff that I've done. And they loved it, and they just really got right on board. The boys helped me sort of arrange them a bit better, and choose chords that probably worked better than what I'd done, because I only knew about 3 or 4 chords on the guitar.
I can play so that was pretty exciting.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
I thought it was more difficult to play with one, so
Yeah, that sounds. I want to see that.
That's not great.
Is there a YouTube video somewhere? No.
I'll do one just for you. I promise.
Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of what happened. We did my music for a while. We did Jess Beck for a few years, and that was very much folky pop music sort of stuff, and it was quite fun. But I don't know, the music just started to change, and then it kind of turned into indie rock music, and then that was kind of fun. And then we brought out an album 2017. It was 2018 when we played this song, which is still one of my favorites. It's called Under the Skyline, and it's on Spotify and everything. That is the song that changed Pirra. Okay. That is the song.
Just pointing to your website.
Yes. Oh, I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah,
but anyway,
straight down.
Straight down. That is the song that just set us on our trajectory. Basically, we played Under the Skyline live at Surrey Hills Music Festival.
I know Surrey Hills.
And yeah, it was towards the end of the set, and everyone got up on their feet. And then these drag queens came running along, and they were getting everyone up on their feet, and everyone was just like dancing to Under the Skyline. And it was such a magical moment. I remember just turning to the boys, and we just like had the biggest smiles on our faces. We're just like, what? This is what a good gig is. This is it. And then that was it. We're just like, dance music, indie dance, what we're doing. It's a bit of a mix. You wouldn't just call it straight dance music.
That's like electric house, electric.
Yeah.
Pop. Yeah.
Kind of all of the influences. And it's just been so fun, and just really, really putting a show together. We sort of, it takes a while to really get your show together, and those awkward pauses in between songs. Oh, this next song is, we're just like, let's just lose that. Let's just have songs run into each other. Let's make, and honestly, our live show now, I'm so proud of it. And I feel like, anyone that gets to experience, I hope that they will enjoy it. And my hope is that they'll be up on their feet dancing.
Well, this is the fun thing, is people will be able to have the chance to actually see Pirra perform. In fact, if you're in Sydney, you go to the Oxford Art Factory on, I believe it's September 3rd, which is a Friday night, or they can go to the Toff in Melbourne, which is on the 10th of September, or if you're in Brisbane, go to Susie's Wong Time Bar. Is that right?
Yeah, Susie Wong's Good Time Bar.
Time Bar.
Haven't
that's
been
it.
There,
on the 12th.
but it sounds good.
Yeah, well, it's in the title.
Yeah. I can't wait to get back to Melbourne and Brisbane. We haven't played there in a little while now, so it'd be really good to get back. And I know the Melbourne audiences are so welcoming. Like when Melbourne's open, like any night of the week, I love that you can just go anywhere and there's always bands playing. So
we do love good bands. We do love good electric as well. So it's gonna, I think you're gonna do real well to get down this way again.
Yeah.
So, well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping to actually make it there on September 10th. And
I'll chuck your name on the door.
Oh, so you should. I'm pretty important. Put me down for 15. No.
Yeah. Oh, why not? Yeah. We want the numbers.
But this is the great thing. Like your new track, Never Apart, which is one of those earworm songs that once you get into it and the vibe starts getting it, you can't shake it. It's there. And it's then part of your subconscious, and you're whistling it for the rest of the day, which is, I believe, was helped you get seen by Triple J unearthed featured artist a couple of weeks ago, and coming from a former radio star, that the Australian Music Radio Airplay put you as his number one 2 weeks ago.
I know. Yeah, that's our best performing radio single by far. That was pretty exciting. I think we got to number 2 for our last single. So to finally get to number 1, yeah, it's just such an honor, and so grateful to think of all of those radio announcers just giving us a go, playing our music. It means a lot to us.
Well, I know that there's a lot of radio announcers that watch the Nightcap, so I'm going to tell them straight to their face: play this song, just do it. All right?
Please.
If they don't, I'll go down there.
And I can check. I can go on air it, and I can check who's playing.
Exactly, you'll know straight away.
Yeah.
Did you find with your music, especially with the lockdowns, the COVID, and all this other stuff, a lot of bands couldn't perform, they couldn't get out and gig as often as they should? Did that help in the creation process of future music, or was this a hindrance where you just sort of went, well, there's not much we can do? What was the situation with the band?
Well, we just figured, we tried to look at it as, tried to look at it in a positive way as much as we could. And we figured, okay, we're kind of now on a level playing field with a lot of other bands. We're on a level playing field with some of the big bands now, because we're all in the same boat. No one's gigging, no one's getting ahead, no one's doing that. So let's use this time to our advantage. Let's write as much music as we can. We also pivoted and we did a live stream. So we went into a studio, A Sharp Studios in Sydney, and did a little bit differently. We recorded our live set. We had 24 hours and we edited it up just to make it a little bit smarter, because we had a couple of different camera angles, just made it sound great. And then we called it From Our Couch to Yours, which was a bit of a pun. The Opera House had done something from our house to yours. So ours was called From Our Couch to Yours, which was a little bit cheeky, but I work at the Opera House, so I was like, I'm going to do it.
Tell Vanessa that she can talk to me and I'll fix it up. Is she still there? Oh, Vanessa? I know Vanessa from the Sydney Music Opera House. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, God, so many people, over 400. Was it 1,000? I don't know. Lots of people. It was like a country town. But what we did was we had the live stream going, but we appeared as a little box in the corner. We were sitting on the couch. We were watching the stream with everyone.
How clever is that?
Yeah. We haven't seen anyone else do it. No. We're kind of shocked that no one else has done it. So we'd sort of pause after a song. We had the chat going and we were just interacting with our audience, watching ourselves in the studio. And it was so much fun. We had a platter, we had drinks, and that's what we encouraged everyone to do. We're like, look, we know everyone's locked down. Let's just enjoy this together. So I think when things ease up a little bit, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, well, we'll see, we're planning to do another one of those. Like once it's all good for the band to all come together, all 4 of us, we will be doing that again.
Please let us know.
So we did that. Yeah, we also, it's not released yet, but we've done this beautiful recording at 301 Studios in the very big live room there. And we've got like a string quartet, a grand piano, and backup singers. And so we've got this beautiful footage that we're not allowed to release yet. We wanted to release it. So there's one more song that needs to be released from what we've recorded. So we can't get it out until that song comes out. But that's some content that we made the most of the time. Like we can't gig to audiences at the moment. So let's get into a studio, film some content. And then also just, like I said, it's just using the time to write. And the good thing is we've got our own studios. We can be still writing music and sharing it between each other because everyone's got their own setup within the band. So
absolutely brilliant, isn't it? Here's a question for you. Now, I love this question. This is an original question. If you've heard this before, they stole it from me. Okay. All right. What is the magic of music to you? Or to put it the other way, what is the music's magic? What is it that music can do that is so magical that you just have to go with it?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, good question, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big one. For me, everything has kind of always revolved around music. Like ever since I was a little kid, Obviously, I'm doing it now as a profession, but just literally every day revolves around music. Music can transport you. You could be feeling a bit down. You chuck on some happy music, it can change how you're feeling. It can enhance how you're feeling. Sometimes you might want to have a bit of a cry. Chuck on some sad music, get it out, get that feeling out. I love that when you are able to come together with other people, if you're at a festival, at a concert, just that interaction and that energy that you're feeling with other people, enjoying music together at the same time. Music is universal. Like, everyone in the world loves music. I literally don't think there is anyone that doesn't have a love for some type of music.
I love the word that you use, where it transports you. That's a key thing in music. That's what I look for in music is, will this take me somewhere that I'm not currently? And I think that's what a lot of people subconsciously look for as well. Some people love stories in songs. Some like just the beat of a song, but it's that magic, isn't it? It's just that magic that you've created that can take someone else from one spot to the next.
Yeah, definitely. And it's fun. Like when we're writing music, we don't not necessarily like setting out, okay, this one is going to be this, or it just, the songs just are. And it's kind of fun when people read different things into a song that you've written as well. That's the beauty of it. We all interpret songs differently. Sometimes they can be really black and white, and sometimes when they're metaphorical, it can be a bit more fun for you.
Well, with that, let's look at your new track that we're going to play directly after this interview, Never Apart. Immediately, there was one line that stuck out for me straight away, and that was "One heart, never apart." And that could be I'm not sure if that's what most people pick up from that track, but that spoke to me straight away, because again, I'm not sure if it's our Indigenous heritage. I'm not sure, because the world's so divided as it is already, that one heart is so important.
Yeah, no, it is a really beautiful lyric, and James actually penned that one. So James is our guitarist, but a brilliant songwriter. And gosh, he's been sending us songs that he's been writing in the last few days, and I'm blown away. There's one, I'm just excited. Like, when I knock off today, I'm literally going to be getting here in the vocal booth, and putting down vocals on some brand new songs, because I'm that excited. I just want to get them done and get them out as fast as we can. Yeah.
Well, I don't like to toot my own horn here. Actually, that's a lie. I like to toot my own horn. I don't own a horn, but I like to toot one.
Yeah.
I am, however, I think I'm world famous, but I am one of the greatest triangle players from Mount Austin High School ever. So if you're ever looking for a well formulated triangle routine, I'm your man.
So you'd be happy to record and do live shows?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. I think I should have 3 solos.
If you can do both, we'll definitely consider you.
Okay. Can I have 3 solos per song?
Yeah, you can do it at the Melbourne show.
Yeah, beautiful. I thought, that would be great, actually. I could probably be the opener for you if you really want. Occasionally, it's very rare, but occasionally I bring out the spoons.
Yeah, it's funny. Kurt was doing some percussion on a recording the other day, and he brought out the percussion bag, and I didn't realize our drummer actually owns like spoons.
Okay, well, if that's going to have to be in my contract, it's only going to be me allowed to play them. So
yeah, they're underrated, I think.
Oh, they are the greatest instrument ever created.
His spoons are cheating. They're more like tongs, so they're actually joined together. I'm like, oh,
not even a traditional player.
No,
see, I'm acoustic from years back.
Yeah.
I don't like those fancy ones.
Washboard. Are you a washboard player as well?
Oh, now you're getting into my wheelhouse. Yeah, get the washboard out, and the bottle caps on a stick. Really good at that too.
I love that. Yeah. My dad makes those. He's made them for some of the grandkids.
This relationship was meant to happen.
Yeah.
But honestly, I love your music. I really do love your music, and I really do appreciate the fact that you've taken your time out of today. I understand that you're very, very busy, especially because you've got some shows coming up very, very soon. So I'm very thankful for your time today, and we are going to follow you guys as much as we can, and as much as you allow us. And we're looking forward to obviously your tour that's coming up, both in Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. All those dates will be appearing about here, so you can have a look at them as well. And how to get the tickets as well is the other good one.
Yeah, so we've tried to make it easy for people. You can actually book the tickets directly from our website, which is pirramusic.com, or they are available on Washtix.
Hooray for Washtix.
Yeah.
Big shout out.
And they've been good, actually. They've been promoting the shows, which is wonderful.
Even better. Now, I do want to bring this up because I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm very aware of this, that throughout our interview, it sounds like one of our tummies is growling. And it's not my, it's not my tummy.
No. I was actually I'm so glad you brought it up. Okay. So this is the best.
Look at him.
This is little Marlo.
Oh, Marlo. Hello, Poppy.
She's a little girl, and she is, how old is she now? About 16 months old, so almost a year and a half.
What a cute little baby.
And I had her on my lap because if I didn't, she would have been scratching the door down. So I had to weigh up, is it better that it sounds like, you know, one of our tummies rumbling? I was hoping people would think it was you.
Yeah, well, it's pretty accurate.
Or do they want to think that there's an intruder trying to get in while the interview's happening? So went with tummy grumbling.
She is gorgeous. Is she going to come to the tour? She better be on the tour.
I wish she could, but this little thing, honestly,
put her on
has
your rider.
Yeah, honestly, this dog helped me get through lockdown.
She's gorgeous.
Having her and having a reason to get out of the house every day and walk, and so every morning.
That's why I had kids. Same reason.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
Put them on the leash, take them outside.
Yeah, that's it. Someone you got to get up for. Yeah.
Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. Thank you again. I'm not sure how much more I can say. Thank you, because one, you shared such a remarkable story about your life. Two, the music that you've created is really on a whole new level. It really is on a whole new level. And I don't think I'm going out of my wheelhouse to say that you primarily are one of the greatest indie pop sensations I think Australia has to offer at this stage.
Oh, thank you so much. I actually made me feel quite emotional hearing that. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, and anyone can tell you that, oh, your music's great, your music does this, but to know that there are people out there, not just myself, but hundreds and thousands of people out there that that enjoy your music. They're the ones that you keep going. They're the reasons they'll put on your songs or your music, and it transforms them or transports them to a whole new different area. So keep up the great work. Honestly, keep it up. We're looking forward to seeing you guys take this internationally. We really are.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. Jess, Pirra is the band. Right down the bottom there, www.pirramusic.com. You can find them on all of their social media pages as well, because that website takes you to all of them, which is great. That's what I noticed. There was some on there I didn't know. I honestly didn't know that you guys had an OnlyFans page where you peeled potatoes, but you know, the things you learn when you go search. I'm pretty sure it's a good site. Don't get me wrong. I love peeled potatoes, so it's a really good. It's why I paid my $40 membership. So.
Oh dear.
But Jess, thank you so much, and please pass on our love and respect to the rest of the guys and the twins. Let them know that they can pull the twin magic if one of them's having a down day, and you can just rotate them in and out, so that's fine.
Why not?
That's what I do. I've had a twin. I haven't told my wife, but I have a twin.
Yeah.
And we just depending on who's having a good day or a bad day. So.
I know, they're lucky. You can see what they look like in clothing. They can, No. That's what I look like.
Well, visit them on OnlyFans later on this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Jess and the band Pirra, thank you again so much for your time. We really do appreciate it.